Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ezekiel Kuhoga from OQP Community Network, and today is a very special day, and I've prepared a very special talk that I would love to discuss it with you, and I hope you are going to find it interesting. And the talk is going to be about the term hypnosis. What is hypnosis? This is what I want to discuss with you today. And to begin, I can ask you, maybe you can try to look from Google, what does hypnosis do? I tried to search and this is what I found out. I found out they say that hypnosis is the induction of a state of consciousness in which a person loses a powerful voluntary action and is highly responsive to suggestion or direction. And I think from this also context, some movies have tried to demonstrate, hypnosis. They would say maybe somebody is being pierced with a needle or something like that, and then he just falls asleep, and then he'll be told maybe go somewhere, look somewhere, and then he can be made to remember something which maybe he might have not been able to remember without hypnosis. And through this way, it has come to conclusion, or that it's how I conclude that hypnosis has been made to be owned only by special groups of people. It's kind of a magical term. It's kind of a very strange term which a normal human being cannot possess. But I think I think very differently, and I think hypnosis has been part of our lives. Everybody operates on the hypnosis, but because we don't know about it, we just can't see it. And by not acknowledging the power of hypnosis that operates within us in our daily lives, we not tend to use it to much effectiveness. But anyway, let's keep on going. But this is how I discovered hypnosis. For the past couple of months, I've developed this habit of listening to motivational speeches. Most of the time, I would just put on my headphones. I would go out there doing whatever activity I'll be doing. Sometimes I'll be driving. Sometimes I'll just be at work. Sometimes I'll be just at home, maybe doing some stuff here at home. And then I would just be listening to Leslie Brown or Jim Rohn or many other speakers. But the strange thing happened. The first time, I had some thoughts which were not related to the kind of speech I was listening. I was just listening, and then suddenly I remembered something. And then after a few minutes, because I kept on listening and doing my other stuff, then those ideas which came, they disappeared after a few minutes. And I think it's a normal thing for many people. An idea can come and then it can just disappear if you are busy doing something. And then I forgot about it for a couple of days. After 3 or 4 days, I replayed that speech which I listened again. Now, to my surprise, after I reached that point where the speaker was speaking some stuff, and then I had a thoughts on that particular point, on those particular words, the very same thoughts came back on the same pack the way they came. Sometimes you can have a set of ideas like, oh, tomorrow maybe I want to call my friend and maybe I will send this, I will do this, I will do this. You can have this set of thoughts at one time and then they can disappear. But when I replayed this tape and on reaching that particular point in time, the very same set of thoughts, they came back again. It was kind of strange, but I was like, maybe it's just a coincidence, it happens. And then I tried another day again. I was only listening to another speeches, and then I got another set of thoughts. I forgot them after a couple of days. When I replayed again those tape, then this very same thoughts came again. For the third time, this time I tried to do it intentionally. So I played it and I said, today I'm going to be very attentive, listening to the words very carefully, and also being very attentive to the kind of thoughts that will be coming to my mind. And the same thing happened. Some set of thoughts came. I replayed the tape on the next day. Of course, not the actual tape. Actually, when I say the tape, I mean the the audio from YouTube. So I replayed the audio again the coming day. The same thing happened until I realized that it happens just like that. It works like that. That you only it's kind of those words which were being spoken. They were kind of marks which reminds me of whatever that was surrounding me at that particular area, in terms of audio, in terms of surrounding, of visual, and everything, even in terms of thought. This is what I came to find out. So from that experience, maybe I should now discuss with you what is hypnosis. Now, according to my experience, this is what I found out, that hypnosis is a referencing system, any referencing system. And for my case, it was a system which was referencing back to that particular point in time. And once I was referenced there, I was able to see across the physical world, which means I could remember where I was while I was playing that video, that audio, but also through the how do I explain this dimension? Maybe it's what the fifth dimension is. I could also see through the fifth dimension the thoughts that I was having on that particular time. So this is what I can define hypnosis means is. That means there is a mark. This mark, it was there when this experience was being formed, and this mark can be can be shifted to any point in time. And once you have this mark and you refer it back to that particular point in time, it reminds you what used to happen in that area. This is how I can define it. For example, we have those people who have been in a very abusive relationship. Maybe at one time a woman was abusing a man so badly, and then at the end of the day they ended up breaking. But what happens is that immediately after this man sees a woman, even if they broke 10 years ago, the only thing that flashes back to his mind quickly will be those experiences, the way it used to happen, the way she used to abuse him, maybe she was beating him or something like that. Those images, they quickly come to his mind. Now, what is the mark in this point? The mark in this point, it was an image of that woman. So he used to carry this mark in his mind. And the moment he saw this woman, it's kind of, this woman, she triggered that mark, and this mark shifted this person directly to that particular point in time where he was being abused. And that's how he remembers. And this is how many people, they carry their anger, because once you remember back the painful memories, then your current state is ruined. This is how it happens. Example number 2. Have you ever considered how do you manage to remember a telephone number when a person tells it to you for the first time? This is what happens, and you can try to observe next time it happens. When a person gives you the number for the first time, he's trying to tell it to you through your head. You want to catch it by heart. He can tell you 0134 0134. And then when you are trying to remember that number for the very, very first time, the only thing that will be flashing on your mind is the way he was saying it. So you'll be seeing this person saying the number, and that's how you'll be able to remember the number. This is how it happens. And it will happen until when this number is already printed on your subconscious mind. And then your subconscious mind will start delivering this information to you. But until then, this system will be the same. Like you'll have to be referenced back to that particular point in time while he was giving you this number, and you'll be seeing him or her saying that number to you, and that's how you'll be able to remember it to you. But also another example which also corresponds so much to that is an instruction. Say you have gone to a hotel or something like that, and then you have this maybe hotel manager or anybody instructor. She comes to you and she tells you to, before you leave, please turn this thing off. At that particular point in time, while you are looking at that thing which you were given instruction for, the very first thing that will flash into your mind is the image of this person telling it to you that before you go out, turn this off. And that is how you'll be able to remember the exact words that were being instructed to you. That is hypnosis. That's what I've discovered. And another very strange experience also I can give it to you, which can demonstrate the power of hypnosis. I think it's a business world, the application of logo. And I think maybe some businesses, they really understand this power of hypnosis and they are trying to use it without people knowing. I can tell you how I think the logo works. Normally, before the logo is being displayed, an advert would be made, say a video or an image or something like that. So let's take an example of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, they have very, very nice ads. They would show somebody drinking that Coke, and the way he drinks it, I mean, you can really feel it. And then at the end of this ad which they made, they would put there an image of Coca-Cola. So that image they put of Coca-Cola is the mark which I'm talking about. And the mark can be a business name, it can be also a logo. And a good combination of a logo and a business name, they make this good combination of this mark I'm talking about. So when you go now out on your way doing your own stuff, the moment you will see this image or logo, the flashes of that guy in that advert, that the way he was drinking that Coke will come to your mind straight. And the way you keep on seeing this man drinking that Coke will create that thirst in you. And you know it, that always you feel the thirst when you see somebody else enjoying something. For example, even if it's just water, sometimes you may not be thirsty. But the way you look at your neighbor drinking that water, you will immediately feel that thirst. It happens like that. And also, through this scenario, it also happens like that you see this gentleman in your mind, the way he drinks that Coke, the way he's enjoying it, immediately creates that thirst in you, and therefore you cannot resist buying that drink from any store that you can see at that particular point in time. Okay, so why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I think the moment you have realized that you have this power of being referenced back to a particular point in time and refuel the experience that you had that at that particular point in time, it can actually be used for your own advantage. Once you realize that you have this power, you can use it to your own advantage. And I think this is how one of the examples on how you can really benefit from this power. I can give you maybe a very simple, short story about Leslie Brown. The way he used this referencing system for his own good. Leslie Brown says him and his twin brother were being given up by their own birth mother, by their own biological mother. And reason she gave them up is because I think she was really living in a very tough environment. She didn't have anything to give the children. She was really struggling. So at the end of the day, she said, it's better I give up these kids. And she was planning just to abandon them in the building. And fortunately, there was another woman in that house. This woman also was a poor woman, but she was a cleaner. I think she was just cleaning from house to house in order to get something to feed her children back at home. So what happened is that this woman who was a cleaner, she saw another woman trying to abandon the kids. So she was like, hey, what's happening here? So this woman says, okay, now everything is tough. I can't raise these kids on my own now. I'm very poor. I'm struggling. I can't have even food for myself. So this woman, the cleaner, now she said, okay, give me those kids. Now, according to what Leslie Brown was saying, it looks like these women knew each other. Because this biological mother of Les Brown, she asked the other woman, like, how will you raise these kids? Because I know you must be struggling like me. And this woman, she said, now the cleaner, she said, I don't know, but I know God will make a way. So she took these twins, she raised them, and she gave them everything they could need until they reached the age where now they started to being very prosperous. So the important point to note here is that all this time Les Brown was being raised, was growing. He used to have this anger in his heart. He was so much hurt every time anything comes relating to his mother. He would be so much hurt. And by the time I think he was giving this story, he said he already started also giving these motivational speeches, how to succeed, how to overcome anger and stuff like that. But himself, he could not overcome the anger over his mother. Like, what did she do it to him? Why did she have to give them up? Why? So he was really asking himself every time, why? Until one time, he says there used to be this journalist. It was a woman, and this journalist, after asking him whether he was, feeling okay about his being raised by another woman or so, Les Brown, he continued blaming his biological mother. And then this journalist said this to him. She said, why don't you become grateful that this woman who is raising you now, that she chose you? How many children are there in the world who are going through some tough time, but she chose you to raise? Why don't you be grateful for that? Why are you every day have to complain about the woman who let you go? And then he realized that you can look at one situation from two different perspectives, and these two different perspectives can give you two different results. So from that particular moment, he started being grateful that this other woman, she chose him and his twin brother. That is an exceeding love any person can do. And after being grateful, he said things started to change drastically for him. And so by giving you this story, now I can ask you, like, how many people do you think they ever feel lucky or unlucky, and what's the reason behind that? I'm told there was a research which was done, and this research collected about 10 people who considered themselves lucky, and another 10 people considered themselves unlucky. And after they did some kind of research to them, this is what they found out. They found out that those people who considered themselves so much unlucky, these people only tended to remember the bad things which happened to them. So in our previous story which I gave you, Les Brown, before he encountered this journalist woman, he always considered himself unlucky. Like, my mother gave me up. I'm a reject. I'm not. I mean, I'm worthless. My own biological mother gave me up. So every time that was his song. And then for the other group of 10 people who consider themselves very lucky, it is said they only tended to remember the good things which happened to them. So when we talk about the good and bad stuff which happens to people, this stuff always happens to all the people all the time. They are random. They never choose anybody. But you can choose to make yourself lucky or unlucky depending on what do you want to see. So Les Brown, it reached to the point that he chose to look at himself as the fortunate person. Like, oh my God, I'm so fortunate my mother chose me. Pardon me. So, for example, even in the case of relationship, I've seen some couples where a woman would always be complaining about her ex-boyfriend, that he used to abuse her. So she's now in the new relationship, and the man in the new relationship cares for her so much, but she cannot get rid of that past relationship that she had. She keeps clinging to it. So even in this case, I could say, why don't you become grateful that this new boyfriend accepted you with your brokenness, with the way you are? Why don't you become grateful for this and just forget about the other boyfriend who gave you that miserable experience? This is another thing. So when we go back to this hypnosis is the way now you can choose. Now for the case of Les Brown, this image of his mother was his mark, and this mark always took him to to one plane where he had this experience of rejection, of being given up on. And then the other image which is now the woman who raised Les Brown, it represents also another mark which take Les Brown to another experience which represents the embrace, the acceptance and love, embrace, something like that. So and what I can say here is that your good feeling is very critically important in your performance, like in your everyday activities and life. Because imagine if you have a fight with your wife or your parent or anybody else, and then you are supposed to go to school or to work. Normally, the performance is so bad you can't concentrate on stuff if you're not in a good state of mind. So for you to refer yourself back to the stuff which can ruin your feeling, ultimately can make you perform poorly in what you are doing now. But by choosing only the stuff which can make you feel great, feel proud, feel grateful, will always make you even more effective and more productive in whatever you must be doing. So that's one of the reasons why you need to be serious into understanding about this hypnosis. And the good thing is that you are always in control of choosing which mark you want to use to refer to your past. You are always in that power of choosing voluntary. But of course, when it's too late, then sometimes you can no longer do anything about it. By concluding, I can say this is how you can now take control of your own hypnosis process. Number one, create your own experience. When I say create your own experience, I mean that now is when you are able to choose what to do and what not to do. Sometimes you can be convinced by friends, by I don't know, by any other people to do even some evil stuff. Sometimes some people can say, hey, let's go to club, and someone else can say, let's go to church. Somebody can say, let's go to read a book. Somebody can say, hey, let's just go to have fun. So you always have this power of choice. What do you want to do? And deep within your heart, I believe you know which one builds your life, builds your experiences great. But of course, normally we tend to ignore and say, this man, it doesn't mean much. I can just do it and forget it. Of course, you can do it and forget it, but trust me, at some particular point in time, there will be a mark which will bring you back to this experience, which will make you feel bad, which will make you less productive, which will make you less effective in what you will be doing then. So be careful in the experience that you're creating now. Make sure that this experience that you're creating now, you will be proud of whenever the time that you're going to be ahead. When you remember this moment, you have to be grateful. This is one way of being so much effective. But number two, create your own marks. As I discussed as I discussed about Les Brown and his story, it was the matter of choosing which mark he wanted to use to remember the past. If he wanted to use his own biological mother to remember the past, now we can all see that never gave him any good experience. If he wanted to use his own real mother to remember the past, it brought the proud, it brought the happiness, it brought the love and feeling good situation, which can make him feel good about himself. So always make sure you're also careful in choosing what to refer you back to a particular point in time. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you have any question, you have any comment, you have any advice, please do not hesitate to write it in the comment section below. But also do not hesitate to contact me directly, and I will be so much happy to communicate with you. Apart from that, don't forget to share this message to your friends whom you think they really need to hear this message. Don't forget to subscribe in order to get more videos from us, but also to get another important announcement on our OQP community network and stuff like that. Thank you so much for listening, and see you again soon. Bye bye.